this is my multimedia presentation. I hope you enjoy. Now on to the video. My multimedia presentation is going to be based off of the book that I read, and the book that I read is entitled Washington Black by Eddie Edugian. Basically, throughout the book, the character comes to a point where he realizes his self-value and just genuinely like his worth as a human being, and he did that with help from his family, friends, which allowed him to view himself in a positive way so that he was able to grow into the man that he was meant to be. Obviously, the essay was supposed to be revolving around a specific subtopic, and we would expand using the points from the book and proof from the book, and obviously proof from outside resources, right? The thesis of my essay, you could say, was self-actualization and really just realizing who you are as an individual, understanding your self-worth, and becoming the individual that you're meant to become. This book in particular definitely touched on that. The whole story itself was based off of Wash, that's his name. He was a slave in the late 1800s, and it just outlines the story of his life and how he became successful and overcame the situations and barriers that he was placed in at the time. The thesis of my essay states, in the book Washington Black, the author uses or evokes self-actualization through the fulfillment of one's needs for safety and self-esteem, which are influenced by the relationship one has with others. And that just as a whole encompasses exactly what I was trying to evoke through this essay. And that was just that, to become self-actualized and to understand your true worth and your true potential, like your external environment, your family, your friends, your close loved ones and whatnot have like a major impact on who you become at the end of the day and the person that you are meant to be. For the most part, I did a lot of research on understanding how, like psychology wise, like understanding how people affect one another and how positive and negative relationships affect an individual and their growth. To feel safety, to feel secure, to feel grounded and just like protected in one's life, one definitely has to have positive people and people who genuinely love and just support them in general, for them to feel protected, loved, so that they can, continue to grow as an individual. One of the main examples in humanity that expresses that or gives that to human beings is family. As a child, you need your parents, grandparents, whatever figures you have in your life that take on that parental figure need to be part of your life for you to be able to grow, whether that be positively or negatively. Not everybody has positive individuals in their life to look up to grow from, but the person that you are is affected by the environment that you grow up in. This was illustrated in the story when Wash, the main character, explains that he had a maternal figure in his life named Big Kit, and she basically took on the role of a mother within his life. And you see that countless times throughout the story, that even when she's not necessarily directly involved in his life, that she still has a major impact on the man that he became at the end of the day, throughout his life. And that basically, that security and that protection that she provided for him in return influenced the way that he grew up. And well, not even just the way that he grew up, but the person that he became. That self-actualization. He was able to find the worth within himself because he felt protected, because he felt like he had value, because he felt like he had wings sheltering over him, if I can use that to describe it. Since he had that sense of protection within his life, he was able to grow into the individual that he was meant to become, which was a great one. Similarly to family, friends play a large role on who you become as an individual as well, like the way that you view yourself and whatnot. And I think friends take a different approach on how they make you feel how they allow an individual to become self-actualized. And I wrote in my essay that basically friendships affect self-esteem and how you feel like as an individual. Friendships and close relationships give you a sense of belonging. They make you feel like you're involved and that you have a purpose and that you're here for a reason, and that, you know, like, people love you. And feeling that happiness of being accepted and feeling belonging within you translates into the way that you treat others and into the human being that you eventually become in the long run. I think the character of Titch within the story definitely had one of the biggest impacts on Wash. And this was because he not only like stood as like a friend in the story, but he also stood as like a mentor, like someone to look up to, someone who gave a new way of thinking, like a new perspective on life. Because all of Wash's life, like, you have to consider that during this time, people of color were being oppressed, racism was, you know, heavily evident, and slavery was still legal. So people of color didn't really see themselves for more than just objects. You know, they were working for plantations, and for a good majority of them, their masters didn't, you know, respect them. They were treated like they were someone's property. And Titch's character revolutionized everything in this young black man's life. Titch basically showed him belongingness that he never had before. And through that belongingness, his self-esteem was raised. And he evoked that belongingness in many ways, whether that be educating him, letting him know that even though the society is telling him that he is worth nothing, that he's worth something. And at the end of the day, like what was quoted in the essay, Titch expressed that he is one of God's creatures too, implying that they are all, like, human beings are all equal. And that mentality really, like I said, nurtured to that to that belongingness, and which in return boosted his self-esteem, and just carried him throughout what the individual that he was meant to become in the future. While doing my research for this essay, I definitely touched on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And from the hierarchy of needs, I picked the two, which was security and self-esteem, to touch on based off of what I found in the book. Maslow's hierarchy of needs states that a human being needs physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging needs, esteem needs, and all those things need to be completed for an individual to become self-actualized or to reach self-actualization. And that is the desire to become the most that one can be. So that highest level that we all view as human beings, like that person, obviously, like, as human beings, we continue to grow. There's never, you know, an ending to growth or an ending to what we can learn. But to feel self-actualized is to realize that even though we still have, we're always going to grow, we realize the value, the true, genuine value within ourselves, because everything else has been taken care of. Yes, the hierarchy of needs was basically the main thing that I based my essay off of. And then I picked two subtopics, which, like I said, was security and self-esteem, and I branched off of that. To sum everything up from the essay that I wrote, like said earlier, self-actualization is realizing your highest and truest potential with understanding that there's never an ending to growth. And basically that all human beings have the ability and the ability to grow in a positive manner, in a positive light, in a positive way. But family and friends take a huge part of how an individual sees themselves, how they begin their process to self-actualization. Situations basically make you who you are. When you go through something, you take that, you learn from that, you grow from that, and you continue on. And that's basically what I was trying to evoke through this essay, and what I saw and my viewpoint of what the author was trying to convey in Washington. Overall, the concept of self-actualization was definitely evoked in that story very well. And I took outside research from Maslow's hierarchy of needs and other psychological papers, websites, and whatnot to expand on the points found from I almost forgot to end this video, but I hope that this multimedia presentation was able to show and display and go into depth about why I wrote my essay the way I did, the points that I touched on, the research that I did, and etc. Thank you. Bye. Sorry about the length of this video. Hopefully you get the point and you spare me the deductions. Thank you.